So this has been in the making for the last 5 or 6 years. I think it was announced in 2015, there or thereabouts. The aspiration was to cease all of these legacy PSTN services by 2025. There haven't been enough serious questions raised about why we can't have better connections, more cost-effective connections. I think now with the whole government drive behind connecting Britain has probably played a significant part in accelerating this process, because there just are no means of connecting some people in more rural areas. Yes, you can get 4 or 5G connections, but again, there are similar challenges with speed and bandwidth, so it really does need to happen. I think the pandemic is one thing. I think the actual logistics associated with swapping out all of these cables and the impact it's going to have for businesses and people is huge. I think it's a nice theory that by 2025 this thing will happen, but in reality I don't buy into that. The real driver is giving people access to faster connections on a newer network that also allows different types of services to be delivered. But as I said, I think it's over ambitious, and I don't think it will be a reality for at least another 10 years. We will have a far more fibre driven dynamic of connectivity coupled with more wireless methods of connectivity like 4G, like 5G. But I don't think copper will ever go in entirety. There will always be a place for copper, just because of the amount of investment that was made and the dynamic of, as I said, rural destinations. I'd love to think everybody will have fibre to their home at some point. I think people need to understand more about what's available out there, what they need to think about as a business to prepare themselves for these changes in technology, infrastructure and connectivity in 2025. So, there are so many different types of technologies out there that not only address these short-term concerns around preparing your business, but also add tremendous value to your business. If you think about the pandemic and how people are now working from home, the infrastructure that supports that is a new world technology. None of that relies on copper. We're running off of cloud platforms like Zoom, like Teams, and other IPT platforms that allow you to work wherever you are, allow you to have more flexibility, be more resilient, and more often than not, more cost effective. If you're not adopting the right types of technology, that's a significant risk, and it will reflect in the value of your business. So there's so many reasons why people need to think about this. There's so many reasons why people need to understand what's available. And yeah, it's one of the things about my role here that I enjoy the most when I'm talking to businesses and they explain their concerns or their challenges with existing infrastructure, and we are able to support them through explaining what's out there, explaining how it works. Not only does it address concerns, it also adds so much value and normally gives them features that they didn't even know existed. I will always support anything that will improve the way people live their lives or the way businesses operate. I rely on connectivity every minute of every day, either business or personal. So if there is an initiative to improve the overall experience, speeds and quality, I'm all for it. My tips are: 1, education. Educate yourself, understand the technologies that are out there, and there are so many different ways to do that. Some of which are talk to companies like us, your incumbents, read publications, go to exhibitions, etc. Tip number 2 is make sure you get senior management buy-in or board level buy-in. Make sure your peers understand the necessity to embrace technology, because the biggest obstacle sometimes is budgetary constraints or a lack of support internally for embracing change. Some of these changes are perceived to be fairly scary, but they really aren't if they've got the right thought process at the offset and the right partners to support you through it. So we've helped businesses completely overhaul infrastructure and it hasn't really led to much impact, quite the opposite. Tip number 3 is make sure you change your approach to financial forecasting around technology. If tech was traditionally 10 to 15% of your overall indirect spend, make it 25 to 30% of your overall spend, because with the emergence of AI, augmented reality, broader types of connectivity, new types of infrastructure, these things are all going to be an absolute necessity. And I guess my final tip is be open-minded. don't think because you've done something for so long and it's worked so well that it will continue to work well. Be aware of how disruptive some businesses are becoming. You can name any vertical now, there is at least one disruptive player that is changing the whole landscape of that industry. Why don't you try and be that disruptive player? Why don't you, if you're not going to be the first disruptive player, make sure you're at least side by side with who's being disruptive. And I guarantee you 9 times out of 10, that disruption is driven by technology and really smart use of technology. I think one of the biggest things about NGN and how we engage with our partners is the fact that we're so consultative. So I think it's vital that we as a trusted advisor for our partners really understands what each of our partners is trying to achieve, what type of service they're delivering to their customers, and how technology impacts their ability to deliver and deliver well. So we try to understand what they do at a granular level. So, sometimes engaging individuals, understanding what they do beyond the tech that we offer, understanding some of the challenges, and then trying to map the appropriate technologies to address some of those challenges, significantly impacted the service levels that they are able to deliver to their customers. So I think that's probably the best answer. As a business, our slogan is passion for innovation. And we live and breathe that. It's not just some cool words, it's there for a reason. And we are extremely innovative. I think it's not just having access to new age technologies or future-proof technologies, it's understanding how they work and the best ways to deploy them, which is where I think we really add tremendous value. So we've recently launched a number of new services. We're currently launching another 2 or 3 in the next 3 to 6 months, with at least 2 or 3 more in the next 12. So yeah, we are innovative, that will never change, and we can put our reputation on the line for them because our brand is so important to us. We just can't deliver anything that seems to be disruptive but isn't robust, reliable,